Welcome to Sincerely Me, a podcast about self-discovery and inner work so you can cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself and show up more fully in your work and life. My name is Tallia and I'm honored to be your host. Hi everyone, welcome back to Sincerely Me. I'm so excited to be doing this new episode. I literally wake up thinking about this podcast, go to bed thinking about this podcast. I am so energized by the idea of all the conversations that are going to form and come out of this, and super jazzed after releasing the intro episode and seeing all of your responses on Instagram and your text messages and emails. It's so thrilling to see how much these topics are resonating with you all and how excited you all are about this. So thank you so much for sharing the love this week and for supporting me in this journey. I did notice that a lot of what people seemed to be the most excited about was the topic of meditation and mindfulness. And I recently just completed an 8-week course in mindfulness specifically, so I'm super excited to share what I've learned about mindfulness and the ways I've learned to apply mindfulness in my day-to-day. So what I'm hoping to do today is chat a little bit about what mindfulness is, what it looks like, how to put it into practice, and then we will close out with a guided meditation together. Mindfulness on a super high level is paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. I'll say it again. Paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. Now, initially, I thought the judgment piece would be the hardest, but what I found to be the most difficult in mindfulness practices is actually paying attention to one thing, because I can tell you that in the busyness of my life, at least, focusing my attention has become so rare. My mind is being pulled in a million different directions at any point of any day, whether it's because my notifications are going off on my phone, my emails are coming in and distracting me from what I planned to do when I sat down. My dog needs to go out, she's barking at me. There are a million reasons and things that keep us from being able to focus our attention, and it's just become so habitual and so normal to multitask and to function in that distracted state. And for many of us, we've had to learn how to operate from that place of distraction, and maybe we're still performing well, but it probably feels, at least for me, frantic and chaotic and extremely overwhelming and sometimes anxiety producing. So for me, the practice of mindfulness has really been about learning how in the world to focus my attention on just one thing at a time. Now, there are a lot of ways you can put this into practice. For me, the easiest ways to kind of implement mindfulness into my life has been to bring it into what I'm already doing. So instead of taking 30 minutes out of my day to sit and meditate or to sit and focus on my breath, what I'm trying to do is basically bring in that present moment awareness to the task at hand. What I immediately noticed once I started taking this mindfulness class was that I was never doing something for the sake of doing the thing. I was always doing something for the sake of getting to what was next. One example being, when I'm taking a shower in the morning, I'm taking a shower to get ready to leave the house versus taking a shower just to enjoy taking the shower. So we tend to do things to get to a certain outcome, whether it's an action or a feeling, right? I want to do this so I can feel differently or feel better versus doing the thing to do the thing. Once I was able to just focus on the shower without the anticipation of what was next, or without worrying about the time, or without attaching anything else to the shower itself, I feel like I actually experienced showering for the first time, which sounds a little bit crazy, but it just kind of slowed down time. And that is something that I personally could use right now in life. I'm in this state of feeling like everything is urgent, and to just remove that expectation or urgency from everything I'm doing and to just do the thing for the sake of doing the thing, it has been an absolute game changer. Even in the context of like doing dishes, I'm doing dishes to clean the house. No, I'm doing dishes to do dishes. then I can focus on how the water feels on my hand. I can experience these sensations. I can experience what washing dishes is actually like. And again, the practice here is to just learn how to focus your attention and to not let your mind run you over, or to not let your mind take over whatever it is that you're experiencing in a way that robs you of the joy that could come from just the experience itself. And hopefully it helps you realize that you can really bring this into what you're already doing. You don't have to establish this hour-long practice in your day-to-day and try to find the time to practice all these things. How can you integrate it into what you're already doing in a way that just helps you focus your attention better? That's all it is. Now, my biggest takeaways from this mindfulness class actually came from this day-long silent retreat where, as you can probably assume, we were not allowed to talk. And we were also not allowed to give other people eye contact, which was really interesting. And I'll get to why that was interesting in a minute. But one of the practices that we had to do over the weekend was mindful walking. And mindful walking is pretty much what it sounds like, walking mindfully. But what that means is that you are focusing on just one thing while you're walking, you're staying present, and you're not judging anything about the walk, whether it's things you're seeing, things you're hearing, the way you're walking, how you're feeling, and you're walking at literally like a snail pace. So you're walking super slowly. You're either walking in a small circle or you're walking up and down a few feet of a path that you have found. So it's aimless walking super slowly and mindfully, which means, again, you're paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. I pretty quickly came to experience kind of a light bulb moment, really, when I was walking from one end of the path to the other end of the path. Before I knew it, I'd get to the other end and I would have had no idea how I got there. I totally lost myself in my thoughts as I was walking. And it just made me pause and realize, holy crap, how much of my life have I missed just because I haven't been present? How much of my life have I spent in my own thoughts, in my head, not realizing how I got from point A to point B? And the answer was a heck of a lot, right? I realized in that moment that I've missed a lot of life because I haven't known how to be mindful. I haven't known that it's possible to be present without thoughts and without judgment and without living in your mind. It was such a new experience for me. And so I would, in that moment, go back to the other end of the path and try to do the path again. And the irony of it was that, yes, it was the same path, but I really felt like I had never walked it before because I was never present enough to experience the path. And it was such a deep kind of inner realization that I had about something that seemed really simple on the surface, right? I'm just walking from one end of the room to the other end of the room and losing myself in my thoughts. But what a metaphor for life. How much of life do we miss because we're not paying attention? Or maybe we're paying attention to things that either don't deserve our attention, or things that drain us, or things that just aren't adding value to our lives in the way we might want them to. So it naturally got me thinking about the power of our thoughts and the power of our minds. Our thoughts can be so powerful in ways that really take us out of living our lives and experiencing what's right in front of us. So the visual that I've started to implement in these moments of feeling pulled by my thoughts is that I'm a fish, and that the hook and the bait is the thought that I am instinctively, powerlessly attaching to. And before I know it, the hook has pulled me, and suddenly I'm so far from where I started, and I didn't even realize that I had the power to choose in that moment whether or not I was going to grab onto the hook. But again, before I knew it, there I was, miles away from where I started, running with this thought, giving the hook the power, giving the thought the power. So what I'm trying to do now in my day-to-day is go back to this image of me being the fish and choosing, when I see the bait, when I notice the thoughts coming in, to not let myself be pulled by the hook, to stay in the water, to stay in that space, and to not just jump, but to realize that I have the choice to stay in that space without the thoughts, without the judgment, and to experience what it's like to continue living as a fish instead of identifying with the experience of being pulled by the hook and living in my mind and in my thoughts all the time. And just because I have to sprinkle in a little bit of research from positive psychology, I do want to share a quick study done in 2007 by Bryant and Varoff. They basically conceptualized this idea of, attention and awareness, and how being mindful actually shows to be a very effective way to cope with stress. So yes, it can help you enhance positive experiences. Yes, it can help you increase the amount of pleasure you get from the things you're doing, but it also will help you manage your stress better and, cope with stress better. So a lot of benefits to paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. The only thing that creates stress is your thought. Thoughts are what lead to stress. It's not the circumstances, it's not the events you're going through, it's not what you're experiencing. It's the thoughts and judgments you attach to it that take you out of the present moment into the future to create worry, or into the past to create doubt or regret or guilt or whatever other negative emotion might be coming up for you. All of that to say, I hope you are able to take something from this and apply it to your day today. And we are going to close out with a brief guided meditation to hopefully help you focus your attention in these last moments on my voice, on your breath, on what comes up for you, on whatever it is you decide to focus on. I invite you to get comfortable. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good to you, and just start with a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth on your own time. With each exhalation, try to release something you've been holding on to, whether it's stress, a negative emotion, something you're worried about, anything you're thinking about that has to be done or could have been done differently. Let the weight of whatever it is you're holding on to decrease and get lighter with each exhalation. And as you continue to breathe, what I want you to bring the image of in your mind is an ocean. Think of yourself standing on the edge of the beach. Your feet are in the sand. You're not wearing shoes. And notice the sounds you hear around you. The crashing of the waves, maybe kids laughing and playing in the background. And as you look out into the ocean, I want you to realize in this moment that the ocean is a reflection of your mind. All the waves represent thoughts. And typically, the ocean's got a lot of waves. Our mind is full of a lot of thoughts that come crashing in that we feel like we don't have any control over. So just notice what the waves look like. Are they tall and fast? Are they crashing in hard? Do they have a lot of power and force? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What do they feel like? And in this moment, as you're looking out into the ocean, seeing a reflection of your mind in the water, with each breath and each exhalation, I want you to turn down the dial, turn down the power and the force and the height of these waves. As time passes, notice how the waves change, how they get smaller, until you get to complete stillness. There are no waves. There's nothing crashing down. There's nothing moving. The ocean is completely still. And just like your mind, you have the power to control these waves, to turn down the volume, to bring you back to stillness, to that sense of inner peace. When you find yourself in moments of feeling overwhelmed, anxious, frantic, distracted, that's when the waves get dangerous. That's when you don't want to go into the water. So just come back to this image of the ocean in complete stillness and calm, no waves. And let yourself just be in that stillness. The moment you feel a thought come in, the moment that hook jumps into the water to come grab you, remember that you have the choice to not grab the bait. Return to stillness. Come back to yourself. And let yourself feel the comfort of that stillness. Let yourself float peacefully in the water, feeling supported, feeling light, finding quiet, hearing your own breath. Staying here as long as you need to and knowing you can always come back to this. And when you're ready, start to bring your attention back to your breath. Notice how you feel. I invite you to take this stillness, this sense of calm and quiet into whatever's next for you today. I invite you to practice paying attention, focusing on one thing. I invite you to turn your phone on Do Not Disturb. Give yourself permission to do whatever it is that you need to create one mindful moment for yourself. Life is just a series of moments back to back. If you can find a way to create one mindful moment, to focus your attention on one thing and only do that thing for the sake of doing the thing, you are well on your way to creating a more mindful life. And when it gets extra hard, remember that you can always come back to your breath, to the image of the ocean, to that feeling of stillness. It can be simple. Start small. Even the baby steps matter. I promise they do. If you have frustrations, if you have successes, if you have challenges, I would love to hear them. Shoot me a DM. You can find me on Instagram at Tallia Del Jus. If there's anyone that you know who could benefit from learning a little bit more about mindfulness or doing this guided meditation, feel free to share this episode with them. And of course, subscribe, rate, review. You know the drill. What I am doing this month until the end of April is a giveaway. So for those of you who Do review the podcast. If you send me a screenshot and DM the photo to me on Instagram, you'll be entered to win a free coaching session with me. Basically, what that looks like is 60 minutes one-on-one where we will focus on what you feel like is holding you back in your work or life and how you can turn inward, get to know yourself a little bit more, realign with your purpose, with your truth, and go out into the world doing what you do best. Thank you again for tuning in. You are the reason why I do this. I hope you have a lovely day. Sincerely, me.